I'm trading this guitar pick that's worth nothing for a house worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm about to show you exactly how I do it. Let me introduce you to Kyle, more famously known as the one red paperclip guy. One day, Kyle was sitting at his desk when he spotted a single red paperclip. That's when he had a brilliant idea. He'd list the paperclip up for trade and try to barter his way all the way up to a house. Kyle soon traded the paperclip for a pen, which he then traded for a demonic-looking doorknob, followed by a camp stove, a generator, and eventually he started trading for much bigger things, such as a year's worth of free rent or an afternoon with Alice Cooper. But his most astonishing trade came near the end. He traded an afternoon with Alice Cooper for a motorized Kiss snow globe. The internet thought Kyle had lost his mind, but what they didn't know is that he'd already lined up his next trade with a movie producer who happened to be an avid snow globe collector. He traded the snow globe for a role in the movie, which he then traded for a 2-story farmhouse in Canada. In just 14 trades in 1 year, Kyle McDonald had turned a paperclip into a house. When I heard the story, I felt excited, inspired, astonished, and I thought to myself, what if I could do it too? The first step was to decide what I wanted to trade. I didn't have any paperclips laying around, and besides, I didn't want to completely copy Kyle anyways, so I chose a single yellow guitar pick. And I took it to the streets, asking strangers if they were interested in trading. Nobody was taking me seriously, and it was painful making a fool out of myself in front of that many strangers. But then I met Mike. I'm not even sure if he fully understood what I was doing, but I managed to hustle Mike into trading me a pen for my guitar pick. We filmed the deal taking place, and shortly after I posted my first trade. Word quickly spread around town, and all of a sudden the offers were coming to me. A Sharpie, a book, a free photography session, a Blake Griffin jersey, but I ended up taking a WNBA signed basketball. It's hard to believe that somebody would make that trade for a pen, but remember, we're making history. And you can make history too by hitting that subscribe button. At the time of this recording, I'm only at 240 subscribers, and if you're fast, you might just be one of the first 1,000. And if that's not making history, I don't know what is. Anyways, after the basketball, I already had my next trade lined up. 2 skateboards. We were only 5 days into my journey and I'd already turned a guitar pick into a pair of skateboards. I had no doubt in my mind that I'd have the house keys in my hand in no time. Within days of the skateboard trade, I received my next offer, a $290 BMX bike. At first, this felt like the best trade yet. Then reality hit. Turns out not a lot of people are interested in used BMX bikes. I tried Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, but nobody was interested. 3 weeks passed until I found a kid crazy enough to give up his Nintendo Switch for the BMX bike. And just like that, I was back on track. Riding the momentum, I received a trade offer the very next day for a mountain bike and snowboard, which I seized immediately. I brought them home, took some photos, and posted them online. And after a few days of negotiations, my next trade was set. I said goodbye to the mountain bike and snowboard and said hello to a beach cruiser bike and chainsaw. This was another big milestone for me. The roar of the chainsaw reminded me how far I'd come in just over a month. I turned the guitar pick into this loud, mean, roaring machine. But then came a month-long dry spell. The beach cruiser was a tough sell. Nobody wanted it. But the chainsaw couldn't be more opposite. I got plenty of decent offers, including a riding lawnmower, which I very nearly took, but I held off. Good thing, too, because shortly after, I struck a deal with Russ for a 2003 Harley Sportster that needed a little bit of work. Russ needed a chainsaw for his work, but there was a catch. He also needed $800 to fix up his truck. So I loaned myself the money, planning to recover it with the beach cruiser. And I ended up getting more than I bargained for because along with the motorcycle, Russ threw in a bunch of random trinkets to help with my journey. I listed these trinkets on Marketplace and found a trade for a 100 square foot projector screen. Perfect. These screens sell for thousands of dollars, so getting $800 should be easy. But I listed it and I didn't get a single message in the first week. After an entire month. After 3 months. I realized the projector screen wasn't going anywhere anytime soon, so I scrambled to sell the beach cruiser for $125. This was a huge mental blow because I'd expected to get $300 for it. I still had $625 to pay back on my loan, but I had bigger problems. The Harley had been sitting in my garage for 5 months. The initial excitement of the challenge had worn off for me and my followers, and I was beginning to doubt whether I could actually pull this off. Finally, I decided to switch up my game plan and go all in. The way I see it, this challenge is all a numbers game. Maybe 1 in 1,000 people wanted my broken down Harley and had something of higher value that they'd be willing to trade for it. So in order to find that 1 in 1,000, I needed to be contacting thousands of people. And I did this by setting a weekly quota, a minimum of 5 pieces of content, which I'd post on all 3 social media platforms, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and TikTok, plus 200 messages to sellers on Facebook Marketplace. The frequent posting quickly revitalized my audience, and soon I landed my next trade, a custom Suzuki Velocia with over $20,000 put into it of custom work and even a feature in a motorcycle magazine. The deal sounded too good to be true. I thought it might even be a scam, but turns out it was just a really cool dude who wanted a smaller bike to work on and didn't have a need for the Suzuki anymore. This was my proof of concept, rekindling my motivation and showing that this challenge is possible. I just needed to find people who fit 2 criteria. 1, they have a deep desire for whatever I have and value it higher than the average person would. And 2, they have something to trade that is worth more than what I have, but that they value less than the average person. With this strategy, I went back to Facebook Marketplace, and within a week, I found my next trade, a 1953 Packard Clipper. 8 months in, I turned my single yellow guitar pick into a fully functioning, beautiful classic car. I have to say, of all my trades so far, there has been nothing like the feeling of riding back home in that car. But that trade was a month and a half ago, and now it's time for trade number 11. I'm looking for something valued at least $15,000, though ideally closer to the $25,000 mark. But if there's one thing to learn from the One Red Paperclip guy, it's that oftentimes the best trades are not what you'd expect. It's the motorized Kiss snow globe, or the intangible things like an afternoon with someone famous. Those are the types of trades that I'm ready to jump on. So I hope you found a little bit of inspiration from my story and you're going to continue following me on this journey to get a house. If I can ask one thing from you, it's to please share this video anywhere and everywhere. Because who knows? That one person that you send the video to might be that 1 in 1,000 who's looking for a Packard Clipper and has something amazing to trade.